The challenges of the global COVID-19 pandemic are many and have forced schools across the nation to take necessary steps to not only protect the health and safety of our students, but also to address the academic and social emotional needs of our most valuable and vulnerable students, most especially of our students with special needs. Today, the Institute of Education, Graduate Programs, and Transnational Education brings you the fifth online lecture series on special topics in education. To begin, let us have the Dean of our Institute, Dr. Harold John Kulala, for the welcome remarks and introduction of our speaker.
Um, Thank you very much, Dr. Chini. I think I was muted a little bit. Again, Dr. Chini Aparicio, she's our program head for graduate programs and transnational education. FU community, colleagues, and guests from other institutions, attendees, overseas, and everyone who is tuned in our Facebook Live via FEU official Facebook webpage. Welcome to the fifth part of the Institute of Education Graduate Programs and Transnational Education's online lecture series. It is my honor to welcome you all and give you a little introduction about the lecture and, of course, our speaker for today. This fifth installment of our online lecture is part of our commitment to deliver quality education by sharing with you some valuable and timely information through our competent faculty members. We are grateful having our attendees from different academic groups, organizations, and universities here and abroad, as we have today our fifth online lecture series, which features special topics in education. We also give our sincerest gratitude to the Philippines SPED Teachers Corner and SPED Manila for supporting us and for featuring this lecture in their social network. Thank you very much, Philippines SPED Teachers Corner and SPED Manila. In advance, I would like to thank our speaker in this lecture series for supporting us in our commitment to deliver accessible, quality, and research-based education. As a Center of Excellence in Teacher Education, awarded by the Commission on Higher Education, we uphold the value of research and we commit to strengthening teacher education as a discipline in our country. This is also why we have decided to conduct this special lecture about special education through our featured speaker. Our speaker, who is competent faculty in the graduate studies, is fully committed to providing excellent learning experience within and beyond classrooms for our master's and doctoral students. Hopefully, today's special topic will make our students in the program, including you, our attendees of this lecture, reflect on how we can deliver education, especially in this time of pandemic. Let me give you more information about our speaker for today. She holds the degrees of Master of Arts and Doctor of Philosophy in Education, major in Special Education. She specializes in the following content: field experience in special education, music movement and arts in special education, child and adolescent development, introduction to special education, curriculum for exceptional children and youth, inclusive education. With years of training in special education, we believe that no one can better inform us about this topic for today other than our speaker this afternoon. Attendees, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our speaker, Dr. Kriselle Bondoc de Leon. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dean Harold. Again, a blessed afternoon to my co-spedders, co-faculties, and from the Philippine SPED Teachers Corner Group. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you're able to join me today. So, even though we just have a limited time, let me share to you some tips on teaching special education during COVID-19. So, for today, I'll be discussing to give you an overview the collective responsibility, the enormous challenge in providing special education, building an ongoing holistic understanding of the student and his needs, setting up the environment and school, and reinforcement in special education. All right, so let's start. Collective responsibility. So these are from the teachers, parents, and caregivers to help reduce educational inequality for students with disabilities, especially during a time of crisis like the COVID-19 virus. We do this to ensure the systematic long-term solutions provided that can have effect access to education, including policy, legislation, financing, human resources, and data, must be explored. The collaborative team must use graduated approach. It says here that we should assess, plan, do, and review. So, in other words, when we say graduated approach, this is a day-to-day assessment to make judgments about the progress, behavior of the students. So from there, we can make adjustments when needed. On the other hand, parents and caregivers should do their best to help and support their children with their learning while they are at home. But there are many challenges in facing this. Number one is regressive actions. Since there is a prolonged vacation which made them to be aware from their classmates and school life, LSENs are expected to have regressive reactions. Also, the time of parents. What if the parents are working? Are the students being compliant with the instruction from their parents? Number three, untrained parents. How about for the cases of students with hearing impairment? Do they know how to practice ASL, American Sign Language, or FSL, Filipino Sign Language? There are also some challenges in terms of the internet connections. And of course, number five, the provision of instructional materials. Is it appropriate? Are we touching on VACT, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile? Or are we doing the multi-sensory approach? Connect before you correct. Make a deposit in child in goodwill bank with kind and loving moments. In special education, we practice to teach joyfully with authority. Post rules and refer to them often, especially if they are visual learners. No? Agree what they should try to achieve each day and each week. We should have calendars for them to track and let them know what is expected of them. Next is to try to help them balance any deadlines for when work has to be handed in. do modifications if needed. Let us try to balance everything. There are play breaks, there are on the top table activities, there are many other activities to be done, but let's make sure that they have enough balance. Next is to provide immediate feedback to the student. According to research, if immediate feedback is given, a significant increase in their performance is evident than those who receive delayed feedback. Have open conversations. Remember that your child may have different reactions to stress, so be patient and understanding. Start by inviting your child to talk about the issue of COVID-19. We can make use of social stories, videos, and let them watch what is COVID-19 is all about. We could also let them see the cause and effect that could happen regarding that matter. Reassure that you're doing your best to keep them safe and well. The situation is only temporary. Finally, we can also discuss good hygiene practices. So the wearing of masks, washing of hands, practicing social distancing is very important. We also talk to them and let them explain on how they feel. It would also be necessary to let them have the chance or give them the chance to talk about their friends, to interact with them through the use of social media and other virtual platforms. Build an ongoing, holistic understanding of the student and his needs. So as you can see in this image, that there is a visual for establishing routine and also to build a structure which is critically important for children and young people with special needs. They need level also of flexibility. We can flip to a more active options. So aside from doing household chores, we could also add arts and crafts, regular exercise, also to exercise their fine and gross motor function, especially nowadays. Most of the therapy centers are still closed, so this would be a great help for them. Try to break down the work into shorter periods based on how long they can concentrate. In short, we could take frequent breaks. Set up the environment and mood for learning. We could give them a space for their study area, make sure that there are less distractions, like the toys they would play. And then we could also try different ways of working, not just using digital devices. Let's say, for example, they can use books, textbooks, aside from the modules that can be given, other printed materials, and manipulatives. These other tools may help to make learning more fun and meaningful. Complete some work by hand. We can ask them to write a diary or summary of the things that they have learned each day, like to-do lists. So also we could monitor the other things that they do and to practice their memory. This is an example of a schoolwork communication folder. We could attach worksheets with appropriate explanations and a place to check were finished on the left page. They could also be a self-monitoring behavior checklist. Let's say for number one. Number one is to do some math operations and then they could check if it is finished. Number two is maybe for their reading, like ABCs. They could put marks whenever they accomplish each thing. All the information that is needed to get the task done is organized and listed here. This is also handy for schoolwork. Communication folders are wonderful for building independence. Below, you could also see some picture cards whenever they would like to ask help or request something, like for a break or bathroom. There is attached pictures with Velcro, especially for those who are nonverbal. This could be very functional for them. It would also be of great help if we will limit the number of choices that they could do and let them decide on their own. Practice positive reinforcement. In teaching child with special needs, positive reinforcement should always be there, like saying, good job, awesome, well done, you're number one, wow, or just a simple tap on the back. Because positive reinforcers and proactive approach help students learn behaviors necessary to be successful academically. A student may earn physical rewards in the form of school supplies, like healthy snacks, or also a choice of free time activities. Like you can see in the image at the left side, we have an illustration that says there, after you finish your work, you can. So they can do whatever they like. They can pick if they wanted to read a book. And alongside with it, what behaviors are expected, that I will only use my eyes and I'm expected to be quiet. I can color a picture and my behavior is also to be quiet. I can also listen to music, and by this time I need some headphones to do that. However, on the right side of the slide, you can see an image about positive reinforcement. So for every good behavior, a treat is given to the kid, and adding treats may also increase good behavior.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kriselle, for sharing with us some of the practical tips that we can actually incorporate in this time of pandemic. Actually, listening to the piece of advice had actually made me reflect on how I'm doing, both as a parent and actually as a teacher in this time of pandemic. And actually, our attendees have listed some questions here, so let us have a look. Okay. So one of the questions would be, okay, this teaching to special education or students with special needs may really be very challenging. How is it different teaching prior the pandemic and in the current situation?
Okay, thank you so much, Doc Jeannie. Actually, um, it's very challenging nowadays because we don't see the students personally, so we'll just have it online. We really need the guidance of the parents. So as the teacher teach via online, we hope that the parent would be at the side of the kid so that whatever, or let's say that the child is not yet independent, cannot work independently, that the parent will be supportive. But if in case that the child can work on his own, then the better. All right. So as I have mentioned in the slides, we need to give some manipulatives, positive reinforcement, so that the good behavior will continue until we finish the time, and then all the things to be accomplished will be done also.
Thanks, Dr. Kriselle, and thank you to our attendee who provided us that question. Okay, another question would be, what are some of the special projects or support that our government is providing at the moment for our students with special needs?
Actually, now the SPED teachers are still crafting the modules that will be available. Of course, this kind of modules are created considering the different needs of LSENs, or what we call the learners with special educational needs. And aside from that, we also look into the profiling of the students. We update their profiles, what are their needs. We do not have to wait for the first day of school. Actually, we can do a lot of um, simulation. We could also already start doing some online activities. It doesn't have to be formal that we give them the lesson proper itself, but just asking how have been they doing for the for this vacation, for this time of pandemic, just a follow up. I think that would be good enough, so that slowly we could monitor and we can condition them until the first day of school. And aside from that, um, we also try to get the essentials of the things that will be taught to them. We make sure that everything will be more functional. And of course, we do encourage the parents to work with us, because we cannot do this alone. We always need them to support their kids. And everybody must still learn. We practice inclusive education, especially in SPED, so no one is left behind. That's it.
Okay, no one really gets left behind. And as a follow up to that, I think this question is very relevant from Sir Michael Angelo Reynosa. So he asked, what would be the best way to make sure that visual impaired students will be able to grasp the lessons through online learning, since this was already a challenge from the usual brick and mortar setup?
For the visual learners, um, of course, they use Braille, and beforehand, as I have mentioned a while ago, we do not have to wait for the first day of school. We could we could continually have a conversation with the parents, meet them online. We could even teach the parents on how we could do some materials or other activities that will help the students with special needs. Let's say, for example, for modules, and since we are already preparing by this time, or the teachers, the SPED teachers are preparing, they are formulating, or they are in the making of the modules of the braille. That's the setup now. So we just get the essentials, because um as I have mentioned, there are some barriers. We cannot that's a reality. We cannot teach everything like 100% what really happens in school. And aside from that, we should also consider the present condition, because not all students have good internet connections. But however, with a with the preparation ahead of time, and the help of the people around us, not only the parents but other stakeholders also, I think that would still be possible. Same for those who are students with hearing impairment, because there are also a lot of institutions that offer free trainings when it comes to sign language, like LaSalle in Benil. They offer that for free, and many other schools. just to help and support the LSENs.
All right, so here's another question from Richard Gamboa. What would be the best approach when tantrums occurs to an autistic child?
All right, so we do the redirection. When we say redirection, well, I do not really particularly say that this will be effective to everyone since they are specially made, diba? Or they have different needs, but you do redirection if you see or as the parent see or the teacher feels that, oops, undesirable behavior will be coming. You distract the student with something positive that is interest of him or something fun or something that he would like so that you could stop the tantrums. So before getting to the tantrums itself, ayon, let's make some ways on how to stop it. That's why it's very important that as we teach the kids, we know them, we know what they want, we know our objective and goals for the day. That's why I showed you a visual schedule a while ago. They should know what is expected of them and what should they accomplish for the day.
I think that's something that everyone would agree. As teachers, we should practically know the interests of our students. So it's actually an autistic child that we're dealing, or it's a regular student that we're dealing. Am I right, Dr. Kriselle?
Yes, that's perfect.
And since we're talking about interest, I think this is something that we can also learn a lot from an anonymous attendee. Hi, ma'am. How can we implement positive reinforcement aside from verbal praise on an online class?
Actually, it should work in two ways. Okay, so the teacher on the other end can provide a picture of you're doing great. So meron siyang picture na medal, let's say, ganon, no? So personally, pwedeng meron din ibigay coming from the parent na, wow, this is something real, this is a medal, kahit cut out lang yan ng paper or whatsoever. So whatever satisfies or whatever that will make the student more more convincing to do the task that is given to him, ayon, it will follow you. It will follow the things that they need to accomplish. Actually, there are a lot of positive reinforcement techniques. It could be verbal. It could also be tangible or intangible. So, you should know the student. Ano ba yung mas satisfying sa kanya? Or is it food that they really like? Is it a school supply? Or is it just a play break? Just riding a swing or playing in a slide will do. So that would be helpful for them and more positive behavior will be present.
Okay, thanks for that, Dr. Kriselle.
Yes.
Earlier, we had a question about our visually impaired students. Now we have a question for the deaf students. From an anonymous attendee, hello ma'am, how about those graded SPED students like the deaf ones? Do we really need to use the IEPs or just follow the regular curriculum?
For the visually impaired, they follow the regular curriculum. Actually, it depends upon the severity because others may be totally blind, the others may just partially be blind. It depends the severity of the case, or others may just use magnifiers. It depends. So from that, if we know the profile of the kid, we will be able to design what kind of material will be she needing. Did I answer the question, Dr. Chini?
I think so.
So
Or
it
maybe
depends.
uh,
It
or maybe
depends upon the need of the student.
mhm. Or maybe since we actually have a lot of questions right now, and
I
maybe
told you the SPED teachers are very active.
they're
I know they have a lot of questions
and
in mind.
yeah, and I think maybe what we can promise to our attendees right now would be having Dr. Kriselle respond to your specific
Yes, yes.
questions later through the Q&A facility of our live event. But before we actually end this Q&A, maybe just a general tip, a very practical and useful tip which you think Dr. Cell will be applicable right now, whether it's for a visually impaired, any type of special needs. What is this practical tip, general tip that we can give to our teachers and probably students?
Yes. The special education requires joyful teaching. Don't forget that. And it is always deeply rooted in love and in patience. We can do everything. Everything is possible. We could maximize learning for LSENs. We just have to really love our job as SPED teachers and let us always think positive. That's it.
Okay, so again, thank you very much for our very active attendees. And I really like that term. What's our term, Dr. Sel, to our fellow SPED teachers? You had this term earlier. SPED
The goodwill bank.
Am I
Yes,
correct?
educators.
Yes.
Spedders.
Letters. That's an additional learning I had for today on top of what I have heard from you. Okay, so to our registered attendees, kindly fill out the event evaluation and expect for your e-certificate to be delivered to your email. And we are also receiving information coming from some of our attendees who are having trouble logging in. Please leave us a message via the announcement, and you can leave your email so that we can prioritize also the checking of your attendance for today. And thank you very much to our attendees via FB Live who are tuned in right now and supporting us in this endeavor. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Kriselle De Leon, for the
Thank you.
which are useful not only in addressing our students with special needs, but also our students in the mainstream or regular classes. And coming from the dean, please let me repeat, no one can better inform us about handling our students with special needs other than a person who is expert, of course, in inclusive and special education. So thank you, Dr. Sal, for this. And special thanks also to Ms. Jen for assisting us in this streaming, and to Sir Christian Inigo Evasco of FEU Marketing and Communications Office for facilitating the live event on our social media. So this is Sheeny, and thank you very much for being with us in this online lecture series 5 on special topics in education. Please visit our Facebook page for more updates on our upcoming lectures. God bless you and mabuhay Tamaraos.